Hi everyone, this is Amanda Woodard and this is my Module 6 assignment, Educating for Sustainability. So some of the big concepts that I found when doing the reading was about environmental sustainability, social sustainability, and economic sustainability. So environmental sustainability, so they talk about outdoor environments for education programs and other ways that we can have students be involved in the environment. So some of the big things I saw are activities, like students can garden, they could upcycle materials and do green cleaning. I thought about the green cleaning a lot just because of COVID. We do a lot of deep cleaning on a regular basis. And I know I have thought it and students have commented on how harsh the smells and the feelings are, and maybe it would not be cost effective, but maybe worth the time to do a little research and see what we can do to improve on that. So social sustainability. So this is about managing and identifying impacts, both positive and negative, on people. I found this one is mostly discussion about business, but as a business teacher, this one kind of appealed to me the most. So things like students could do, so volunteering, doing community partnerships, supporting local creators. We actually have several small businesses in our area and students who participate in the Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge of Kansas, where they've created different small businesses. And so trying to involve those kind of practices in our school building could have a positive effect. So economic sustainability. So it's referring to the practices that support long-term economic growth without negatively impacting social, environmental, and cultural aspects of the community. So kind of like the social, supporting small businesses by shopping local, which we have lots of small businesses that provide the opportunity. Encourage people to be purchasing reused items. And then I do teach consumer and personal finance. And I also teach business classes. So I was doing a little bit of reading about financial understanding. So I was thinking more for students, like understanding a budget, understanding how being conservative with your energy and things like that could have on your utility bills, different things like that. So local inquiry. I was fortunate enough that I work in a small school, so it's pretty easy to know what big initiatives are happening around us. So our high school and elementary have a program. It's called Cadence Gardens. My oldest is actually involved in it on the elementary side, and the high school plant and soil science class comes over frequently to teach that fourth grade class about plants and the environment and their impact they're having on it and the relationships between them and plants. So it's a really cool program. And then I have personally used the Kansas Corn STEM resources when I taught summer exploration last summer. They provide you, if you sign up for the grant, they provide you with kits and lesson plans about having students understand conservation and, like the cycle of plants and lots of good ideas. We used that with the kindergarten through second grade, and it was a real hit. They loved taking home their little piece of corn. And then some things I thought that we could elaborate on or do better with would be school and community partnerships. We are in a very strong agriculturally based community, and I know that we have an array of different ag related companies that we could have come in and talk about how they create sustainable environments for the areas around us. So ideas for curriculum. I'm a business teacher, so we talk a lot about social and corporate responsibility. So I believe creating curriculum that addresses connecting with our content is like creating anything. I have to know what my end goal is, what's the purpose. So in a couple of my classes, like I said, we talk about social corporate responsibility. Lately, we've been talking a lot about ethics, and we've talked about business, personal, things like that. And I think students could learn more or have more ownership over understanding this, I think it would be great to start introducing um, more content or conducting business with having without having a negative impact in a way that students can relate. So I kind of thought more about doing that student choice so they could find a business and explain how they are running a sustainable business. They can provide their response in podcast, paper presentation, piece of artwork if that's how they choose, just for them to take some time and do a little bit of digging on their own. So when I did a little bit more looking around on that Children in Nature Network Research Library, I really liked this guidance for reopening schools. Went back and looked at that. This came out in the spring of 2020. I think a lot of schools had different ideas about how to reopen. We, in the fall of 2020, did go back to school. We had, different policies in place to try to do our best during COVID. But some of the big ideas from that article that I liked and I see that we did do and maybe not realizing we did it, that were good practices, and we've kind of continued to do them. So expanding our learning spaces. We have an outdoor classroom at our school. It's pretty neat. It's just like an open shelter. It's available to anyone. Right now is not a great time of year to use it because it's been so cold, but it is available. And they've also gotten different types of workspaces. So students go out there. They could even be doing math, science, anything out there. And it has a usable space. I liked using school grounds for learning. We do have a lot of classes that go out and about. I know with my junior high kids, when we collect data, I've taken them in the fall and we've just collected a different variety of leaves from around the building, and they had to identify them, put them in groups, and then input the data that they got from their cluster of leaves. Supporting teaching and learning, so adapting to the new norm. And they talked about how we could be supporting teachers with learning how to incorporate new practices and try to reduce stress, as difficult as that can be. And then healthier learning environments, creating green spaces. I thought that was really cool. I think creating green spaces around our building could help students feel some ownership to our school grounds and maybe feel a need to take care of it. Teaching virtually and in class, so opportunities for students to explore and investigate nature. So even when they're at home, I know when we have been online, I've tried to create activities where the students could go like in their yard or somewhere to collect, like almost like a scavenger hunt. But it, which actually at the time I thought was a horrible idea because I had students carrying their computers all over the place. Some kids lost like Wi-Fi, all kinds of stuff. But I did get a lot of positive feedback from the kids where they said, like, at least I got up. I didn't have to sit there any longer in front of a screen like I've been doing all day. So even though it seemed kind of like a mess at the time, I see now like how important it probably was for the kids to get up, take a break from their computer, and not be in that stagnant place for as long as they were. The next thing, so that video, Richard Louv, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. I really liked that video. It kind of hit home with me. So I really connected with him discussing taking students just outside. I remember when I was in elementary, junior high, high school, I grew up in a rural area, like kind of like where I teach, and we went outside a lot. Even if it was for a silent reading class, my teacher, we kind of always joked that Miss Hyde would do that just because she was a hippie, but I don't think that was necessarily the case. She was just really a good teacher, and I think she understood taking that mental break and going outside, even though you're still doing what you're supposed to and meeting the expectations. It's just a change in environment. And I remember thinking like how much my mood would change when we did that, and like I would just feel so much better when we came back in. And I've said it before, but I think we stay in our classrooms a lot is because we think if we're in the room, it's going to maintain control over like classroom management, things like that. But I do think changing the environment has a real positive effect on students' behavior and attitudes. The forest kindergartners, well, first, I think that their instructors and supervisors seem very well educated and suited for what they're doing. And also, I thought that the students just looked really happy. Um, and then I just thought it seemed like such a positive thing, and how that teacher, the traditional classroom teacher, said she didn't notice any differences between students who went to a forest kindergarten opposed to like a traditional kindergarten, and how they seemed like they were, um, up to par with everybody else. And I liked that quote from that instructor. He said, you have to teach them to be interested in learning, which I think is true. I see a lot of that now, like a lot of disconnect in students, and it's hard to engage them and find that buy-in for them if they don't already have kind of that desire to be learning. So this is a couple screenshots of the data I was really interested in from our responses. I wanted to kind of look at the school setting and comparing it to the use of the outdoor setting, just because I thought, well, if you're in a rural area, do you get to go outside a lot? Or, what kind of setting creates the most use of an outdoor setting? But I mean, like a school location. But it doesn't really seem like there is a relationship between the two. But I did like seeing that so many people are using those outdoor settings 100 or more times per year. I think that's awesome. I am curious if I could have opened the sheets better. I think maybe I could have seen that, but I am curious what everyone teaches in relationship to their use of those outdoor settings. So my question for everyone is, what do you do to incorporate the outdoors in your lessons? And furthermore than that, if you could give advice, do you have advice for a teacher who teaches business and computer science? Like, how could I personally, if you have any ideas that I could do to incorporate outdoor lessons, or if you are also in a similar position and you've been doing something, just let me know, leave a comment, give me a shout. That would be awesome. Okay. Thank you guys.